Yes. Are back on the record. We are outside the presence of the jury. Mr. Miu is present in the courtroom. We want to conduct a short voir dire of the next witness to see whether or not spousal privilege applies. General rule is that a person has the privilege to prevent that person's spouse or former spouse from testifying about something that was said between them in private. That communication has to be made during the marriage. Can we all agree that the Mius were married on July 30, 2022?
Yes.
They remain married today?
No, they divorced, I think, a couple weeks ago,
Okay.
2-3 weeks ago.
Okay. Were they married when the jail conversation took place?
Yes.
Can we agree on that much?
I guess I don't know.
Yes, we agree that they were married.
All right, so the question is whether or not it was a private communication.
Right.
So, because the defense is asserting the privilege, I think they have the responsibility for establishing it. So I'll let them start the voir dire. Mr. Anderson, you may ask some follow-up questions. We'll see where it ends up, and then I'll make a decision.
I appreciate the opportunity to start. I don't know what they're trying to introduce, so it's hard for me to start because I don't.
Do you want to cede that position and let them do it?
Yes, please.
All right, Mr. Anderson.
Which would I think also mean they're trying to call her, so I want to be able to cross-examine her.
And again, we're not getting into the substance of the conversation. This is just to explore whether or not it was private. That's all.
Understood.
Okay. All right, and I'm sorry, Mr. Miu's wife's name is?
Sandra Miu.
Sandra. All right, is she in the courtroom?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Miu?
All right. Is she outside? She's outside, Judge.
Judge, while we're waiting, when she does testify, the defense moves that any information about the divorce be inadmissible as it's irrelevant. It's going to open up other reasons irrelevant to this.
Is there any relevance to their marital status?
I think it goes to bias or lack thereof because they're divorced now. The divorce is.
Well, here she comes. We'll talk about it later. Ms. Miu, please come forward. Please face the clerk. Raise your right hand. She will administer the oath.
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes.
Please have a seat in the witness chair. All right, Mr. Anderson.
Can you state your first and last name?
Sandra Miu.
And Sandra, you were on the river with Nicolai on July 30, 2022?
Yes.
And do you remember him leaving your group at some point?
Yes.
And then do you remember some sort of commotion?
Some sort of what?
Some sort of commotion or disturbance?
Yes.
Did he come back to your group at some point?
Yes.
And was your group all pretty much all together then?
Yes, I think so.
And was Nicolai saying things when he came back about what happened?
I don't know if he did then or this when he came back the next time.
Okay, so he left twice? So after the second time he came back, was he saying stuff about what happened?
A little bit, not much.
Did he talk about his knife?
Yes,
And was that, when he was talking about that, was that when he was back with your group?
yes.
So did multiple people hear him talking about that?
Objection, no foundation.
Sustained.
Were you guys standing in a group?
Objection, bag.
It's hard for me to understand what you mean by group, so.
Yeah,
you
sure.
have to type this
How many people were in your tubing group?
I think there was about 8 of us.
And when Nicolai came back, if you remember, were you guys sitting down in your tubes, standing together?
Objection, bag. My point is, I think it's about whether Nick was talking to Sandra. So when he says you guys, is he talking about the entire group? Is he talking about these two?
When he came back and was talking about what happened, was it to just you or multiple people?
I think it was just me at the beginning.
And then later?
I think he talked to someone else while we were on the tubes.
And you overheard some of that conversation?
Not much of it. I couldn't hear what they were saying.
Okay, but do you recall speaking with law enforcement?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you recall doing interviews with law enforcement?
Yes,
And do you remember if you told them about hearing what he was saying when he was talking to other people?
I don't remember.
Okay, but it'd be in the transcript?
It could be.
And so when you said he was talking to you, where were you? Were you by other people?
When he came back to us, you mean?
Yeah,
No,
where were you?
he was standing on the little sandbar. They were in the water,
And where were the other members of your group?
in the water.
How close?
I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
5 feet, 10 feet?
Probably 10.
Was Nicolai speaking loud enough for other people to hear?
Objection, no foundation.
Was he whispering, talking in a normal voice,
I don't remember.
animated?
I don't remember.
You, who was he talking to while you were tubing?
Amy?
Objection.
I'm
Sorry.
confused. Tubing when?
When you were tubing to the exit?
Amy?
Okay, and that's Amanda Torres?
Yes.
If other people talked about what Nicolai said when he came back, is that, if you know, did you tell them about it or would they have overheard it?
I didn't tell anybody.
Okay, so if other people knew what he said when he came back, it means they overheard what he was saying?
Objection, leading,
Yeah,
inaccurate.
this is voir dire, so I'm going to give some latitude so we can get to the core of this. So overruled.
You didn't tell anyone else what he told you?
No,
Okay. And then while Nicolai has been in jail, you guys have spoken on the phone?
yes,
And on those recordings, does it say these are being recorded?
yes,
That's at the start of every phone call?
yes.
And at points, Nicolai has talked about the case,
He tried, I stopped him,
and sometimes he'd say something about the case before you could stop him?
but I didn't. All I kept saying, if you're gonna talk about it, I'm hanging up the phone. I don't wanna
Right.
hear it.
Sure.
But
And,
he never got out very much.
no,
Couple
but
of words,
some stuff he did,
yeah.
yeah. And I think that's it.
Mr. Nelson?
So you were asking questions about the conversations that you and Nick had after he came back the second time and you're standing on the sandbar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
During that, you consider that to be a private conversation, correct?
Yes.
He was, you two were engaged, just the two of you, correct?
Yes.
And no one else was within 10 feet of you, correct?
Not that I know of, no.
After that, there may have been times where other people talked to Nick between the time you spoke with him until he was arrested. Agreed?
Yes.
You don't know what Nick said in those other times, right?
No.
Because you weren't a party to those conversations.
No, and I don't hear very well, so I want to hurt him. I wear hearing aids, so I don't hear, and I didn't wear them on the river, obviously.
So all you know about is what Nick told you when the two of you were alone.
Yes.
That's what you remember regarding Nick's statements about what may or may not have happened.
Yes.
The phone calls on the jail, I want to ask you about that, okay?
Okay.
You still consider those private, agreed?
Yes.
There was a, you didn't know for sure whether somebody was or was not listening live, correct?
That I don't know. I just know they say it's recorded.
What they do with the recording, you don't know.
No.
Doesn't say, okay, that's all.
Anything else?
You'd purposely tell him to stop talking sometimes because you knew somebody might be listening to those calls, right?
Only if he started talking about what happened, I do.
Okay. No.
Mr. Nelson?
The reason you stopped that is you weren't worried about somebody else hearing, you just didn't want to hear about the case. Fair to say?
Both.
Okay. Nothing else.
Thank you, Ms. Miu. Please have a seat in the back. Do you have other witnesses?
On this issue,
Yes.
I have a 911 call where you can also hear Nicolai talking in the background.
Well, that's different. I mean, as far as this question of whether or not the statements to Ms. Miu were private.
No.
Mr. Nelson?
No, you assert the privilege.
All right. The privilege has been asserted. It's a statutory privilege. As I mentioned, a spouse may prevent another spouse, the other spouse, from talking about private conversations that were made during the marriage. We're talking about two different conversations between spouses. One occurred on July 30, 2022, shortly after the incident. On this record, I'm convinced that it was a private conversation because it was engaged between two people standing apart as far as 10 feet away from others. I consider that to be a private conversation and will allow the privilege to be asserted for that communication. As far as the jail communication is concerned, that clearly is not private. Ms. Miu testified that she knew it was being recorded. If it's being recorded, somebody else has the ability to listen, and the conversations are taking place knowing that somebody else is recording and possibly could listen. So that conversation was not private, and the state may inquire about the substance of those conversations.
How does I don't know how the court wants me to handle that. I know it's very publicized that he's in custody. The jury probably knows, but I know we're trying to not make it obvious. He's in civilian clothes. So should I just not ask a time frame so they might think it's shortly after the arrest, or I don't know, or do I just say jail phone calls? Did he say this?
Well, what do you propose to say? You frame the question for me, and let's find out whether or not there's an objection.
Can I weigh in before that?
Well, you want to give him a shot? Give him a chance to, unless you don't care.
Oh, I care. I
Okay,
very much
let's hear what he proposes that he's going to say, and you tell me your thoughts after that.
I would just ask, while your husband, well, actually, I guess we got to address that too, but when Nicolai was in jail, did you have conversations with him? And did you talk about this? Did he say this? And essentially leave it at that?
I would permit the state to lead and I don't think that there would be any reason why they would need to go beyond between now and July 30th. Did you have conversations with your husband? Yes. Did your husband tell you X, Y, Z? She says yes, she says no. If she says yes, we're done. If she says no, they play the recording. I mean, the fact that there's a recording, the fact that where it is irrelevant. The only issue is that there's a recording. Your Honor's already ruled on that, and if she doesn't agree with it, they can play the recording. But I don't think we need to know why they have the recording.
Mr. Anderson?
That's fine. I'll just say
Use leading questions.
yes.
And if she deviates from the script, then you're going to be able to impeach her on things that may be more sensitive. All right, what else?
But I don't think there's any, my request is that we don't say it's a jail recording. It's a recording. It doesn't matter where it came from.
That's what I understood the agreement to be.
Okay.
Correct, Mr. Anderson?
Yes, I'll just say, do you have recorded phone calls with Nicolai?
No, did you have conversation?
Okay, sure.
And in that conversation was X, Y, and Z said. All right, let's circle back on the relevance of the divorce. How is it relevant?
Well, for one, defense said in their opening she is his wife, present tense. So, I mean, I think they could have just,
I'm not his divorce lawyer.
well.
Okay, well,
Also, I mean, it goes to bias or prejudice on, you know, we're asking all these witnesses, what are their relations with each other? Are they friends? Do they still talk to each other? So they're divorced. The finances are done. She doesn't have a financial stake in this trial because the divorce is finalized. So it goes to bias or prejudice.
Who's saying she's biased? I mean, we're not claiming she's biased. Is the state claiming that she's biased because she's divorced? I'm not tracking the rationale behind the relevancy.
If
Are they going to,
well, let's put it this way. The relationship of the witness to the defendant is relevant. What is their relationship? That's where the relevance lies. You said that if we get into the fact that they were divorced, it's going to open up a lot of other issues. And what are those issues?
well, I think I get to ask her, you didn't divorce him because you don't love him anymore. You didn't divorce him because you disapprove of his behavior on 7/30th. This was a financial decision, and other than the, you know, state of Minnesota's financial, you still care and support. I mean, I think I get to say all of those things if they get into that.
Okay, well, I think the relationship is relevant. I don't think there's any unfair prejudice if the jury knows that they're divorced. And it'll be subject to cross-examination if you want to explore these other topics to rehabilitate. So if you want to ask that question, that's what you're going to receive on the other end. I just want to point out one thing, though. At the beginning of the trial, when I was asked to make an exception for the sequestration rule, it was represented to me that they were married. And now I'm learning that they're divorced.
I didn't know that the divorce was final. I am not his divorce attorney. I apologize if I was misleading. I don't believe she sat in the trial at all. So it was not my intent to. I did not know the status of their proceedings.
All right. Is there anything else that we need to address?
I don't think so.
Mr. Nelson?
No objection.
All right, let's bring the jury in. Ms. Miu, why don't you have a seat in the back, and then we'll call you back up to the witness stand.
She,
She's not a victim.
I guess.
Just so everyone's aware, we're going to re-administer the oath so that the jury
Sure.
sees.
All rise for the jury.
All right, please be seated. Welcome back, members of the jury. We are ready to continue with the next witness. Who is that witness, Mr. Anderson?
Sandra Miu.
Ms. Miu, would you please come forward? Please face the clerk, raise your right hand, and she'll administer the oath.
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please have a seat in the witness chair. Mr. Anderson.
Can you please state your first and last name?
Sandra Miu?
And Sandra, do you work?
No,
What city and state do you live in?
I live in Lakeville, Minnesota.
And obviously you know Nicolae Miu.
Yes,
Where did you two meet?
at work.
And is that Ritchie Engineering?
Yes,
Were you tubing with Nicolai on July 30, 2022?
yes.
Were you with a group of people?
I'm sorry, what?
Were you with a group of people?
Yes,
Permission to approach?
Yes.
I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 12. You can take it. Are those the people you were tubing with?
yes.
Okay. Move to admit and publish.
Any objection to 12?
No objection. And Sandra, can you see that? Do you
Yeah.
go by Sandy or Sandra?
Sandy,
Okay. Far left person, who's that?
it's Ariel.
And how do you know Ariel?
He's Ernesto's nephew, and Ernesto used to work with us.
Okay. How many times were you and Nick, or just Nick, close friends with Ariel, just met him?
We sort of were close friends with them. We'd go over to Amy and Ernesto's house, and he would be there.
Okay. And how about the woman next to Ariel?
I don't know her very well. That's Ariel's girlfriend.
Okay. And then, guy third from right?
I don't know him. That was the first time he had been there.
Okay. And then that's Nicolai next to fourth from right?
Yes.
Okay. Where are you in this photo?
I'm in the inner tube, in the middle.
Okay. And then, where's Ernesto?
Ernesto is in between Amy and Rosie.
Okay. Maybe I'll go back. Everyone can see. Can you still see it?
Yeah, sorta.
Okay. And who's Rosie?
Rosie is Ernesto's sister.
And how do you know Ernesto and Rosie?
I know Ernesto because we worked with him. Rosie's been over at his house when we would go over there.
Okay. How long have you known Ernesto?
I don't even know, 10-some years, probably maybe a little bit more.
10 to 15?
Yeah, I'd go 10 to 15.
Okay. You guys, you and Nick, would you socialize with them a lot?
Yes, we'd go to their house.
Would they come to your house?
Yes,
Okay. So decent, close friends?
yes.
How about Amanda or Amy?
That's Ernesto's wife.
Okay. You knew her pretty well too?
Yes.
And Tatiana, did you know her?
I only knew her a little bit. I met her a couple of times when we'd go over to Amy and Ernesto's house.
Okay.
And
Sir-
same with Peachy. I only met him when we'd go over there. And I only met him maybe 3 times.
Okay. And you, that's what you know him as, Peachy? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
When you were tubing in the beginning, did Nicolai have a knife on him?
I don't know if he did when we were tubing.
In the beginning, at the start?
He only did to cut the strings on the tubes. He went back to the Jeep, and I thought he put it away.
Okay. And as you guys were tubing, so you didn't see him put it there, you just thought he put it in the Jeep when he went back to the Jeep?
Yes,
And is that what he brought it for, to cut the string?
yes,
So you could tie up at the beginning?
yes.
Okay.
Actually, Ernesto called Nick and asked him to bring it
Okay.
so he could cut the string.
Did your group stop on the way? Did you stop anywhere on the way while tubing?
While we were tubing,
No, did you stop?
before we got there,
Yeah, did you stop somewhere to eat or
No.
hang out on a beach or anything like that?
no,
Do you remember telling law enforcement you stopped and you were eating for like 30 minutes or so and using the bathrooms?
that was why we were tubing.
What do you mean? Can you explain that?
We were tubing down the river, and there was a spot that is covered where they must have played a band or something there once in
Okay.
a while. It was on the river while we were tubing. We stopped to eat.
Gotcha. You thought I was asking about before tubing?
Yes,
Okay, sorry. And did Nicolai have snorkel goggles with him?
yes,
And was he snorkeling by a group of young guys at one point?
I don't know. He just took the snorkel and went out there.
Did you see him by a group of young guys at some point?
I did later,
Okay.
when the incident started.
And was there actually a couple times that Nicolai went over to that group?
That I don't know for sure.
Did you tell law enforcement that he went over there twice?
I know I think he went to that group, he came back, and then I didn't know he went back to that group until later I saw him over there.
Okay. So he had gone to the group of the young guys, came back, and then at some point he went back there, but you didn't see him go back there again?
No, I didn't keep a track of him.
Okay. How long was he back that you remember before you noticed he was gone again?
I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, I don't know for sure.
Do you remember saying maybe 10 minutes?
I may have.
And then when he went, Judge, can we approach?
Yes.
And at some point, did Ariel's phone get knocked in the water?
I don't know how it went in the water, but yes.
And do you remember, in relation to the 2 times Nicolai went over to the group of young guys, was it before the first time, after the first time? Do you remember?
Was what, before or after?
When the phone got lost?
Oh, it was before.
Okay. And was Nicolai looking for the phone?
Yes.
What were you guys doing, the rest of the group, while Nicolai was looking for the phone?
I don't know what they were doing. I was busy sitting in the inner tube because I had a hard time getting out of it. And I was just looking at the sky and the trees and just relaxing and enjoying my day.
You guys, I mean, your group was kind of by a sandbar, is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And when Nicolai was back at the group of young guys the second time, did something catch your attention?
I happened to, every once in a while, I'd sit up in my tube just to see where Nick was at. And the one time I did that, it looked like there was people around him, and all of a sudden I saw him on his hands and knees in the water, and somebody was hitting him.
Didn't you originally say that the first thing you noticed was all the young guys jumping out of their tubes?
I may have.
And it's that point that you alerted your group and sent some people over there? or asked some people to go over there?
Yeah, I had asked 2 of them,
And who were those 2 people?
Ariel and Ernesto.
Okay. And again, Ariel in the group photos on the far left,
Yes, he's with the red, white, and blue.
and Ernesto is the guy, the only one without a shirt off in that photo?
Yeah, he's on the other side. It's like second from where I'm at on that side.
Okay. And so you saw, and just to clarify, this is the second time Nicolai's at the group that you see them jump up?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And do Ernesto, after you see the boys jump up and you alert the group, do Ernesto and Ariel start walking over there?
Yes, Ariel went first and then Ernesto went.
And then, I think you said the next thing you remember was he was on his hands and knees in the water and somebody hit him?
Yep,
And then, did you see anything after that?
I did not.
And how, at some point after, what do you remember happening after that?
They just brought him back. And I
And,
saw the police come and people were screaming and kid was by a tree, I guess. And later, because we stayed there for about 20 minutes.
and I'm gonna get to that in a second, but I just wanna back up a little bit. So, you said they brought him back. Did Nicolai come back before or after or with Ernesto and Ariel, if you remember?
With them, I think.
Did you actually see Nicolai walking back from the group, or did you just, was he just there, like, next thing you noticed?
I saw him coming. I didn't see him leave that group. I saw him, though, walking back.
And were you watching him the whole time he was walking back?
Not at the beginning when he left the group. I didn't see that.
And did you watch him? So, I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
The last sheet of paper.
Yes.
One of the bailiffs, I think there's another pack just outside this door, leaning up against the wall. Let's take that one down. We need to mark it in any event.
So if this is the river, let's say this is the sandbar, okay, you with me? Okay. Where you guys are somewhere around here?
Yeah, right next to it.
Okay, in the water? Or-
Yes.
Okay, like right here?
Yep.
Okay. And then do you remember where the young boys were, or young kids, or adults,
Yeah, they
whatever?
were on that side.
The other side of the river?
Yes, they weren't on the same side we were on.
And were they downstream a ways?
Yes.
Okay, so, right, I mean, there's no scale, so
Yeah.
I'll just draw them generally here. So, at some point Nicolai walked back. And you said you didn't see him when he left at first. Do you know, like, if you know, I don't want you to guess, like, when he was halfway, did you start to watch him come back, when he was almost back to your group?
Probably a little less, or a little more than halfway.
Okay, so maybe like around here,
No, the other way.
lower? Oh, this, down
Yeah.
here?
Probably saw him about in there.
And did he walk straight back to your group from there?
Yes,
And you watched him walk back?
yes.
Okay. Do you remember? You met with essentially the people sitting at this table prior to testifying, is that right?
Yes,
And do you remember saying in that meeting that you weren't watching him when he walked back the whole time?
yes,
Okay. So, do you know which one it is?
yes, I probably didn't watch him the whole time.
Okay. And after Nicolai was back by you, your group, what did you see? What did you hear? Not amongst your group, but downriver.
There was a lot of commotion down there. I saw the police arrive. I saw someone, I didn't really see the person laying by the tree, but I saw somebody give that person CPR.
And let me ask a question about that. So the person who was getting CPR, was that on the other side of the river from you?
Yes, it was by where the other people's troops were.
So somewhere down here?
Yeah,
And did you see that CPR going on? You said you were there about 20 minutes?
yeah, I think it was about 20 minutes. I don't know for sure, but it seemed like 20 minutes.
And was somebody getting CPR on the shore that whole time?
Pretty much.
Okay. About 20 minutes. Did you see? And the commotion, can you describe the commotion?
People were more frantic, it seemed. They were just going to people that needed help.
And what do you mean needed help? Did you see people who were injured?
No, just, like I said, I didn't see the one by the tree either. I'm just assuming, but no.
So what did you see to know they were doing CPR?
I saw somebody pushing up and down on the person's chest.
Okay. Did you see blood?
I did not.
And so you said you saw law enforcement arrive,
Yes,
and do you remember seeing a couple of officers in the water?
yes,
Is that what you remember as far as law enforcement that you saw before you guys left?
yes, there may have been an ambulance, but I'm not sure.
Do you remember telling us in the meeting that you saw a police SUV, a couple officers in the water, and no ambulance?
Yes, I do remember that.
Okay. So did anyone from your group, once Ariel, Ernesto, and Nicolai are back with you, did anyone walk over to where the commotion was going on?
I heard somebody did, I didn't see them.
prior to the incident, I'll call it, what was the atmosphere like among your group? Were you guys drinking, listening to music?
We were listening to music until the phone got lost, because that was the one that was playing the music on.
Okay,
Some of them were drinking.
okay. Was Nicolai drinking?
He had about 2 beers.
About, just an estimate?
Yeah,
You were the designated sober driver home, right?
yeah, I was just drinking water.
And that was pre-planned that you would be the one to drive home?
No, it was not pre-planned.
And then after the incident, what was the mood like when you're tubing down the river?
Quiet.
And I'm not asking what was said, but while you're tubing down the river, was Nicolai talking?
I think he was talking to Amy, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
I didn't look to see.
So fair to say when you guys tubed down, the person was still getting CPR?
I don't remember.
Was the scene still chaotic?
I don't think it was back then, no.
No, but it was before ambulances arrived, right?
I don't know for sure.
Well, you said you saw a police SUV, 2 officers in the water, no ambulances, right?
I don't know for sure. I didn't pay attention, but I told you before there was no ambulance, so I guess not.
Okay. And you'd agree that when you told us that, we just asked you to tell us what you remember, right?
Yes.
You weren't
And
crying or,
no, but, I've been trying to block this out, so
okay,
even since I talked to you, I don't remember. I'm not going to sit here and read the transcripts you gave me. I don't remember.
okay. I imagine, and I want to be respectful, I imagine this is extremely difficult
Yes.
for you. So, when your group left, you had to tube by the spot where the incident happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Since this incident, you've had conversations with Nicolai about, briefly, about some parts of the incident, agreed?
Yes.
And Nicolai has expressed to you frustration with you and your group because you didn't hear him yelling for help, right?
Right.
And he cast some blame on you and your group for not coming in response to his yells for help.
Yes.
And you responded you couldn't hear any yells for help.
No, couldn't hear it, not over the water.
Nick's knife, you described it as, you believed it was a silver blade, black handle folding knife. Do you remember that?
I don't remember. It could have been.
And you described that it had a clip and a clip on the knife, right?
Yes,
And he'd clip it into his lower pocket on his shorts.
yes.
And Nicolai's right-handed, right?
He's right-handed.
Do you remember telling law enforcement that you heard screaming?
I don't remember. I may have. I just don't remember.
You, would it refresh your memory to see a transcript?
Yes. Okay.
Does that refresh your memory?
No, but it says it, so I must have said it.
Okay. When you saw CPR being done on the shore, was the rest of your group looking in the same direction, watching what was going on?
I'm assuming
Actually,
so.
no foundation.
Sustained.
You were there for 20 minutes?
About, I guess.
Sorry, just wait till you
Sorry.
address the objections, that's fine. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the objection.
I objected, asked and answered.
I hadn't finished.
All right. Ask the question, we'll start over.
So you were there for, you estimate about 20 minutes with the other people from your group. As you were there, did you make observations about the people in your group?
No,
No, you didn't see anything that anyone was doing or looking at?
no.
Where were you? Okay. And what about Nicolai? Did you see where he was looking? Did
No,
you see what he was doing?
no.
So Nicolai walks down to the, I'm talking about the second time now, the group of young guys. You see him get hit. When he's down on his hands and knees, he eventually comes back, and you're not paying any attention to what Nicolai's doing?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Yes.
So during that 20 minutes, were you watching, after everything you've testified about, during the 20 minutes you're there, were you paying any attention to Nicolai?
I don't recall. I must have at some point, I just don't recall.
Did Nicolai have any injuries that you saw?
I didn't notice any, but I didn't pay attention either.
And the people that Nicolai was downstream, were they bigger, smaller, same size as Nicolai?
I noticed some of them were skinnier, some of them were bigger. They were all younger.
Do you remember telling law enforcement that they're all smaller than Nicolai? Nicolai's a big guy.
No, I don't remember saying that, but if I did,
You remember saying didn't look like Nicolai got hit that hard?
I don't remember.
When Nicolai came back after you saw him get hit, did you go to him, render any aid, anything like that?
Did I what?
Go to him and render any aid or anything like that?
I just made sure it didn't have any, I didn't see any blood or anything, so I'm assuming he was not too badly hurt.
Okay. Nothing else, Judge.
Mr. Nelson?
Ms. Miu, can you tell us when you and Nick got married?
When?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was June 4th, 2011,
Why'd you marry him?
because I loved him.
Still true today?
Yes, it is.
Over the course since, did you know him before 2011?
Yes, I met him, we started dating in 2008, and I met him at work a little before that, so
What did he do there at your place of employment?
he was an engineer.
What type of engineer?
I think he said it was a mechanical engineer.
Okay. What did you do at the place of employment?
I was a supervisor of a department.
Of what department?
I was a supervisor of the packaging department.
Okay. And it was through that you and Nick grew to meet each other and then know each other, right?
Yes,
It sounds like there's a group of other people that you guys got to know and hang out with from work, right?
yes,
So you've known Nick since 2008?
I knew him a little before that, maybe 2007.
And during that time, you eventually married him and lived with him, right?
Yes,
You worked with him often?
I did.
You interacted with him at work and at home? correct?
Yes,
Imagine you really knew this man.
yes.
Would you agree that you know his character as to whether he's peaceful or violent?
Objection, Judge Quinn.
Yes. Objection overruled.
So my question was, do you have an opinion as his character for peacefulness?
Nick is a very peaceful person.
I want to ask you some other questions about what you know about Nick, okay?
All right?
Was there a time when
Judge, no objection to entry and admission of those photos.
What are the numbers?
I'll go through them, I just wanted to publish and ask you when they're on that.
That's fine. We'll turn on the document examiner.
Yes, thank you, Judge. So I'm going to show you some photos and ask you some questions about those, okay?
Yes.
This is exhibit number 106. You see that?
Yes.
What's that a picture of?
It's a picture of Nick and I.
When is that from, do you know?
I don't remember the exact date. Probably about 2009, 2010.
Okay. And you might not know, but roughly where are you at?
I don't remember. We went to some park and for the day and just decided to take some pictures of us while we were there.
Did you and Nick often enjoy outdoor activities?
We tried to when we could.
Sure. And so is this unusual in any way for you guys to be out someplace in the outdoors enjoying yourselves?
No, it's not.
Showing you what's been marked as exhibit number 107. You see that sticker? Who's that?
It's Nick and I and our little boy, Tiki,
Okay. Who's Tiki?
our dog.
All right. And showing you then picture 108, there's 3 different pictures there. Do you see those?
Yes,
Is that Nick in all of those?
yes,
Is that Nick on the left-hand side and the right-hand side? Are those pictures of Nick working on some property you guys owned in South Dakota?
yes,
Nick, a bit of a handyman?
oh, yes,
Does he fix stuff around the house?
yes,
Fix stuff around the yard?
yes,
Is he good with tools?
yes, he is.
Do his friends sometimes call him if they've got some sort of problem that they want fixed?
Yes.
He's the guy to go to?
Yes,
And does he solve it often with tools?
yes,
Have you seen him carry a pocket knife before?
all the time.
You see him, in this case, I think we've called it a utility knife or a pocket knife, but it's a small knife that he puts in his pocket, right?
Yep,
Have you seen him use that before?
yes,
Have you seen him solve problems around the house with that?
yes,
Solve problems around the outside property with that?
yes,
Have you seen other people ask him about, hey, Nick, can you do this? And he'll use the pocket knife to fix something or solve something.
yes,
Showing you what's marked as Exhibit 109. See those 3 photos there?
yes,
Is that Nick?
yes, it is.
Is that Nick in the hospital on the 2 ones on the left?
Yes,
Why was Nick in the hospital?
he had a quadruple bypass done.
And when was that?
I think it was 2020.
Okay. And you see in the one on the left and in the one on the right, he has some sort of red pillow that's on his chest. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
What was the purpose of the red pillow?
so when he would sit up, he could hold that pillow against his chest to help prevent the pain.
Okay. How long was he in recovery as a result of that? Do you know?
I don't remember. I know he wasn't in the hospital long because they try and get you out right away. I don't remember if he was home 3 to 4 weeks afterwards.
Now, you knew him well before 2020, correct?
Yes,
And then you knew him till today, sometime after the surgery, correct?
yes,
Fair to say that since the surgery, he's had some more limitations
yes,
on his physical ability, correct?
yes,
He wasn't quite as fit as he was before, would you agree?
yes,
And maybe this happens to all of us men when we get into our 50s, but appear to you that he lost some of his confidence in his fitness?
yes,
Lost some of his ability to think he could go off and do anything and that he's invincible?
yes,
This certainly humbled him to that degree?
yes.
And did he limit himself to some degree?
He did to some degree, yes.
Yeah. Did he at some point tell you, like, I just can't do this anymore, or make complaints about his own fitness?
No, Nick never did that.
He wasn't a complainer?
Not too much, no. And he tried, if he could do it one way or the other, he usually did it.
Okay, all right. Problem solver.
Yes.
All right. Was he on any sort of like exercise regime that you saw him do, or is he just somebody that stayed like active working around the house?
It was just active working around the house.
He's not like a jogger, a biker,
No,
or a lifter, or anything along those lines?
no.
Okay. There were some questions about alcohol use. And before I get into that day, just in general, Nick a big drinker?
No, not real big drinker. Occasionally he will, but not very often. He'll have a beer, a couple beers after work.
Okay. On this day, were you concerned about his alcohol consumption on July 30th of 2022?
Oh, no, no.
Was he in any way, did you seen him impaired on other days?
Oh, I've seen him, yes.
Yeah. On that day, was he in any way impaired?
No,
Were you worried about his intoxication level in any way, shape, or form?
no,
And in your group, was there anybody in your group that was just like slamming drinks?
no. They had beers, but everybody shared them. And I don't know how many they had, but there was nobody that was intoxicated in our group like that, no.
Okay. Showing you what's been, I think we talked before about that other exhibit. Now, here's Exhibit 110. You see that photo?
Yes,
In, is that Nick on the left?
yes, it is.
Okay, and I'm gonna, Nick there, is that what he wore on the way to tubing?
Yes,
His shorts, they're camouflage shorts. Does he have a lot of clothing in which is, camouflaged?
yes,
Okay, that's just kind of his, I don't want to say signature, but he's got camo clothes.
yes, he does, lots of them.
Okay. And is it unusual for him when he's doing outdoor activities to wear some of those clothes that are made for outdoor activities?
No, it's not unusual,
Is it unusual for you to see him out and about in a camo shirt?
no,
And so that's what he wore there that day?
yes,
We see in that picture there that he has a ball cap on, is that right?
yes,
And I think there's some other, the original picture here. Exhibit 12, he doesn't have the ball cap on, is that right?
he does not there.
Were there times when you guys were on the river that day that you saw him with the hat on and with the hat off?
I didn't pay attention,
Okay. Other than what's documented in the photos, though, that you don't have any particular memory?
no,
Was it unusual, would it be unusual for you to see him with a hat on?
no, that's not unusual,
Okay. He wears a hat pretty regularly?
yes,
Okay. And then I think in both of these photos, he's wearing sunglasses, is that right?
yeah,
Do you remember him wearing sunglasses on that day?
yes, I knew he brought them with,
Okay. Again, fair to say that it was sunny out that day?
yes,
Anything that you thought was unusual about your husband wearing sunglasses on a sunny day outside?
no,
Were there times that you saw him take the sunglasses off?
I didn't pay attention,
He brought some snorkel and goggles though, right?
yes,
And there was certainly a time when he would, before this incident that we're going to eventually talk about, there were times that you saw him in the water using the snorkel and goggle, correct?
no,
You didn't see that?
no,
Okay. So has anyone ever showed you the photos or the video of him kind of just resting in the water with the snorkel and the goggles?
no,
Okay. Is that something that you've seen him do in the past?
well, he goes in the water, but he usually doesn't bring the snorkeling and goggles with.
Okay.
He did this time, only because I had mentioned that not to wear any jewelry because the water's cold, because he wanted to know why, and I said, because your jewelry falls off, your rings will fall off your hands because the water's cold.
Okay.
So he thought he'd bring it with and look for jewelry in the water.
Oh, okay.
That's why he brought it.
Okay. And that's something that you guys discussed prior to that?
Yes,
All right. You'd also mentioned prior to, in addition to the snorkel and goggles, you said, I think on direct, Ernesto called and asked him to bring the pocket knife. Do you remember
Yes.
saying that?
yes,
Were you there, present, when you saw Nick answer the phone?
yes.
And did you know who Nick was speaking to?
He told me who he was talking to.
Okay. And it was Ernesto?
Yes,
Not yet. Okay.
And at some point after that phone call, did you see Nick go and do something?
I saw him leave the room.
Okay. And then when he came back, did he have the pocket knife that he often has?
I don't know. He told me Ernesto wanted him to bring the
Wait,
knife.
I'm sorry. This is Ernesto talking? Sustained.
Did you eventually see Nick at the Somerset tubing parking lot using the knife to cut some strings?
Yes,
Were you surprised that he had his pocket knife with him to cut the strings?
no,
At other times during the day, did you see him using the knife to fix his shoes at all?
no, I did not.
So I want to ask you some questions now, focusing on really about July 30th, okay? At some point, there was a time when somebody in your party lost the phone, correct?
Yes,
And that was Ariel, correct?
yes,
And there was a discussion about what you guys were going to do, correct?
yes,
And eventually, Nick went off looking for the phone, correct?
yes,
And when you saw him leave looking for the phone, you saw him with the snorkel and the goggles, correct?
yes,
And at that point, when he left, he didn't have his hat on or his sunglasses on. Agreed?
right.
And his shirt, had he been taking his shirt on and off that day?
He may have.
Okay. Do you remember when he walked away that time, did he have his shirt on or his shirt off?
I think it was off because he was going in the water.
Okay. Did you find it unusual when Nick decided to go help a friend and go look for a phone?
No,
Is that just kind of what Nick does?
yes,
Sustained.
Is, when he did that, did you think you needed to keep an eye on him?
no,
Were you worried about him, like
No.
his behavior?
no,
Throughout that day, had you seen him cause any conflicts that day?
no,
Engage with anybody in a way that made you like want to control your husband's behavior?
no,
Were you worried about that in any way?
no,
You were just basically like, look for the phone, I'm going to sit here and relax in the tube.
exactly.
And that's what you did.
That's what I did.
At some point, he came back and then he left again, correct?
Yes,
Do you know exactly what he was doing each time that he was gone from your group?
no,
You weren't keeping an eye out for him?
no. I would sit up in the tube once in a while just to see where he was.
Okay. And so this first time, you saw him down in the same area that you eventually saw him the second time. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
But you couldn't hear what was going on?
no,
You didn't see any conflict, right?
no,
You just basically saw Nick in the middle, walking around or occasionally putting his face in the water, looking for the phone?
yes,
That's what you saw?
yes,
No conflict at all?
no,
Agreed?
yes,
And then at some point, you said he comes back and then he leaves, is that right?
yes,
And some point during the second trip is when you notice, when you sit up in the tube, at some point you notice that there's something going on down there, correct?
yes,
And it causes you concern.
yes,
Causes you concern for the safety of your husband.
yes,
Because you heard stuff, right? You heard like commotion noises?
I don't know if I heard anything,
Okay.
but when I sat up in the tube, I saw stuff.
And when you saw them, did you see him surrounded by other people?
Trying to think if I saw that. I don't remember if I saw him surrounded by people.
Did you see him raise his left hand and make a motion towards you or other people in the group?
No, I did not see that.
Okay. Had you seen that, would you have responded?
Oh, yes,
Is your husband somebody that takes calling for help lightly?
no,
You ever seen him in a situation before where he calls for help?
no,
This is the first time?
yes,
Have you ever seen a situation before where you felt like he needed help?
no,
So what you saw, that must have been pretty scary.
yes.
What exactly did you see that raised your level of fear so much that you said these other guys, they got to go down there?
I don't remember if I saw anything before, but I remember seeing him in the water on his hands and knees and getting hit.
Okay. Did he look to be in a safe space?
No,
And that's why you sent your friends down there for him?
yes,
And you were worried about him?
yes,
The prosecutor asked questions about what his injuries were. Why didn't you just wait to see if they drowned him?
Objection, Judge.
Why'd you send the help when you did?
because I wanted my husband back safe.
Why didn't you wait until you wanted it to get more serious?
Why? You don't do that. I wanted him safe. I wanted him back.
You wanted to get him in a safe spot before it got so bad that it couldn't be fixed.
Yes,
And you were worried that it might get so bad that it couldn't be fixed.
Exactly.
That's all.
Mr. Anderson?
Really approach?
Yes. All right, let's continue. Mr. Anderson?
Sandy, you testified on direct, the thing that you saw that caused you to send people over was the young guys jumping up, getting up out of their tubes, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And then that's when Ariel and Ernesto walked over.
I don't remember, I guess. I don't, I thought it was when he was in the water getting hit, but it may have been before that.
Do you remember what you said to law enforcement? If it was when the kids, or the young guys, however you want to describe them, got out of their tubes?
I don't remember.
And also on direct, you testified you never heard Nicolai yell for help, right?
No, I did not.
And would you agree smiling and going like this?
No,
No what?
no, I didn't see that.
Okay, so you didn't see anything, you didn't see a visual call for help, you didn't hear a call for help?
No, like I said, I wear hearing aids. I can't wear them in the water, and the water's loud. I wouldn't have heard him.
Okay. When was Nicolai's surgery?
I want to say it was August of 2020.
So about 2 years before July of 2022?
Yes,
And you said the recovery was about 4 to 5 weeks?
3 to 4.
3 to 4, okay. And then after that, you said it didn't really slow Nicolai down, he still did what he did before?
Well, it slowed him down some because sometimes it took him a little bit longer. He always got everything done, but he just couldn't do it as fast as what he did before because he didn't have the strength.
Okay. Still did yard work, chores around the house, that kind of stuff?
Right.
Wasn't feeble? He wasn't feeble?
No,
Could still run?
yeah, he just had the pain.
Okay.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes, sorry, Judge, I was trying to. Thank you. What I understand you saying is you didn't hear him call for help, correct?
Right?
And you didn't see him call for help, correct?
right?
But you would agree, had you seen him make a gesture with his left hand waving you, you would have considered that a call?
Objection on speculation, it's a hypothetical.
She's already answered the question.
I wasn't done asking, I guess, when he, I'm not,
Good point. Finish asking the question, but I think we've already gone through this.
just following up on his redirect, so
I know, but I think we've already gone through this, so I don't want to waste time.
try to be really quick. You would agree, had you seen him raise his left hand in a motion like this, you would have considered that from your husband, who you've known for that long, a call for help?
Yes,
Ask and answer about it. Speculation.
Sustained, and she's already answered the question again. Next topic, please.
You were asked some questions about when you actually raised a concern, so much though that you sent 2 men over there to help your husband. Remember that?
yes,
And what I believe you first said on the first time was, when you saw him getting hit, you sent the 2 people over, correct?
yes,
But we came to learn that you may have been concerned even before that and sent people over to help him even before that.
I may have, yes,
You were worried, you didn't wait until he got hit, you were worried about it even before that, correct?
yes,
You just saw a situation in which he looked like he was outnumbered by a bunch of young men, correct?
yes,
And that concerned you.
yes,
And that's why you sent some other people over there, correct?
yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miu. You may step down.
Judge, if I didn't already, the exhibits that I showed, I just moved for their admission. I believe I did before, but
Were those photographs admitted?
111 was not included in that, so I'll have to do that later. I just want to make sure the clerk knows.
Ms. Miu, please see the witness coordinator in the back, and she'll tell you where to go next. Are you doing? Want to keep going, or take a break? Keep going? Okay. We're going to keep going unless someone needs to use the restroom. Okay, everyone's good? Who's the next witness?
Larry and Davis.
Judge, I guess I should note for the record that Mr. Davis has requested that he also not be recorded. I know how the court feels about it, but I'm making the request.
Is he a victim?
No, he's a witness.
Statute allows an exception for victims. Please come forward. Coming. Please face the clerk, raise your right hand, she will administer the oath.
Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay, please have a seat in the witness chair. Mr. Smestad.
Will you state your name for the record, please?
Larion Davis,
Mr. Davis, how old are you?
24,
What city do you live in?
Minneapolis.
Were you tubing on the Apple River near Somerset, Wisconsin on July 30th of 2022?
Yes.
Were you with a group of your friends?
Yes.
How many folks, if you remember?
It was 4 of us in total.
Were you drinking some alcohol that day?
Yeah.
Do you think you were impaired?
No.
At some point, did your group have contact with a group of teenagers having a confrontation with an older male?
Yes.
Do you remember what time that was?
I don't remember the specific time, but it was during the day while we was on the river.
All right, and your group of folks, do you remember how many tubes you had?
We had like 4 strung together.
All right, I'm gonna show you, we have a video from parts of the river. I'm gonna show you a still frame from that video. It's number 2670.
It's gonna pop up right here.
It will in a second, once they're ready.
Mr. Davis, if you can look at the monitor on the jury box there, showing you still 2670 from our video. Do you see yourself in that still frame?
Yeah, right there with my hand up.
All right, is that you standing up?
Yeah,
Blue shorts?
yeah,
Is that your group?
yes,
In the foreground, do you see a gentleman who's splashing down into the water?
yes,
In this particular still frame, is your back to the person going in the water?
yes.
All right. What are you holding up in your hand?
My phone.
Were you taking a picture or something
Yeah, I was recording a video.
of yourself?
Yeah.
At some point when you were recording that video, did you realize something was going on behind you?
Yeah, when I was recording the video, and I was showing the whole, like when I was recording my video, I was showing my whole view, and that's how I noticed what was going on in the background.
All right. Did eventually you turn around and start actually recording what was happening?
Yes.
Do you remember when you first started recording, how many seconds or minutes was it after that picture where you're doing the selfie? If you,
I say it was like right after that because I was on Snapchat, so I saved that video and then I tried to take another video.
all right. We're going to show you another still frame from our video. It'll be 3093, Judge. We're ready. Larry, in still 3093, do you see yourself in that photo?
Yes.
Are you standing or sitting?
Standing.
What are you doing in this particular frame?
I'm recording the incident.
All right. We're going to play Mr. Davis's video here. It's exhibit. Oh, pardon me. Did you get a chance to come to our office and review the video that you took?
Yeah.
And did you put your initials on the flash drive that your video is located on?
Yes.
I'm going to show you, Judge, if I can approach.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 21. Does that look familiar?
Yes.
Is that the flash drive you watched earlier today?
Yes.
Are those your initials on there
Yeah.
and the date?
Yes.
And I guess before we play it, I'll ask you a few more questions. At some point, after you were finished recording, and we'll get to that part, did you tell law enforcement that you had a video of the incident?
Yeah.
And did you try to transfer that to a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Was there a problem with the transfer?
Yes.
With the video that you transferred, is it garbled in some sense?
It's the video. It's like what's the word? It's like blurry because I sent it from my iPhone to the officer's Android phone.
Right. After that initial transfer of the video, did you have an issue with your phone?
Yes, it had water damage.
All right. Did you drop it in the river that day?
Yes.
Did you try to figure out a way to extract your original video out of the phone?
Yeah, I tried to do the iCloud because with iPhones you got your iCloud storage, and with Snapchat I tried to see with like with your storage on Snapchat, it'll back up to the cloud too. I tried to see if that was gonna work, but it never worked.
Did you eventually send your phone in to try to be repaired?
Yeah.
Were they ever able to retrieve the original video you took?
No, they only got that video.
All right, at some point, did you tell the police where your phone was, where they were trying to repair it?
Yes.
And did you give them permission to take it?
Yes.
We're going to play it, Judge. It's Exhibit 21. I move to admit and publish to the jury.
Any objection to 21? 21 is received. Go
It's
ahead
not
and play it.
lengthy.
Wait till they give us the cue.
Judge, we're having some technical issues with the video here. If you can just bear with us. We're ready. Mr. Davis, is that the video that you took back on July 30th of 2022?
Yes.
As you were recording it, were you watching what was happening at the same time?
Yes.
What did you see happen?
I saw him stab the light-skinned dude before and like slice his whole stomach open. And you could see him like push the next person in that video, but it's like real blurry. That's pretty much it.
Were you able to tell the people that had been injured?
Yes.
Did you and your group make any efforts to assist these folks that were injured?
Yes.
What did you do?
Me and my brother, we had helped carry, it was a girl, she had got stabbed, and then we helped, there was another dude that got stabbed in like his arm, I think. We helped him, we walked him out the water too, because he was like hysterical.
I don't have any questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Your officer.
So, Mr. Davis, you provided 2 interviews to law enforcement. Do you remember that? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. One on August 10th of 2022, and then another one on March 7th of this year. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And I want to make sure I understand your testimony correctly in terms of the video. Are you saying that you recorded, there was more video that you recorded, it was just lost in the transfer?
Yes.
Okay. And is what was lost in the transfer, I mean, you've provided the police with information on what you said you saw, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked today about what you saw, and you said you saw that a light-skinned dude got stabbed, right?
Yes.
Did you see more than that?
Yeah, it was like a tussle.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get into that with you for a minute, okay? So what you've provided to the state in terms of what you say you observed, there's much more than that, true?
Yes.
Okay. And your, can I ask you this, is your memory of events, so you give two statements, one about 11 days after the incident, 12 days, and one 21 months after the incident. Which memory, in terms of the dates when you give those statements, is one better than the other?
Well, it'd be the one that was closer to the event, that'd be better, but I gave a statement to the officer that day.
Okay. So, if I said to you, memory's normally better closer in time to an event, would you agree with that?
Yes.
All right. Now, on the interview that you gave in March of this year, though, you told the police that you remember it like it was yesterday. Remember that?
I don't remember saying them exact words, but
Officer or investigator O'Keefe said to you, you said you remember it like it was yesterday, though, and you say, yeah. Okay?
yep.
Okay. Now, and you had described, at least in your interview with the police, that you were really kind of paying attention to what was going on.
Yes.
Okay. In your statement in March of 2024, you say, tell me if you remember this, I remember he had a hat on. He had on. Like, he looked like he wasn't supposed to be in the water. Like he just came out of the bushes. He just came out. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So is it your testimony today, under oath, that the person involved in this incident had a hat on and came out of the bushes?
No.
You told the police.
I
that-
told them that yes, but I don't, like you said, it could be foggy. I don't think that's what it was no more though.
Okay, well, this is less than a month ago you had this conversation with them, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And were you intentionally lying to the police?
No.
Okay. So where do you come up with the idea that he came out of the bushes?
Because that's why I saw him running to the bushes after the incident.
Okay. And tell me if this is fair. You tell the police he walks in the water. He had pants on and everything. He had a jacket on. Right?
Yeah, I don't recall that.
Well, the police say you said it. Do you deny saying it?
If that's what y'all got, I guess, yeah, I said it. I don't remember saying it, I should say.
You don't remember March of this year talking to the police?
Yeah, I remember talking to him. I don't remember saying he had a jacket and a coat on.
Okay.
I remember he had on a hat
Okay.
and he had on shorts.
Okay.
I don't recall no jacket though.
All right, but you don't dispute that you told the police that.
No.
Why would you tell the police that?
Like you said, our memory is a little joggy over 2 years ago.
But you told them that you remembered it like it was yesterday. Right?
Yeah.
Do you?
That was a month ago I said that though.
Okay. So a month ago you remembered 21 months ago like yesterday. In the 26 days that have passed since then, It's all faded.
I object argumentative.
Sustained. You made your point.
Okay. You also said to the police, he came out of the bushes and he was taking pictures of the girls.
Yes, I said that.
You saw that?
No, I said that.
I understand you said it. Did you see it?
Yes.
So you saw Mr. Miu with his camera that afternoon taking pictures of little girls. That's what you're telling this jury.
Oh, no, no, no. No, that's what I said.
No, like I said, I understand you said it. Is it true?
Oh, I don't know.
Why would you say it if you don't know if it's true?
It was a lot going on.
A lot was going on March 7th of 2024?
No, that.
Objection argumentative.
Overruled.
Say it one more time for me.
I just want to make sure you understand, okay? On March 7th of 2024, you have a recorded interview with investigators O'Keefe and Justness, I think is how you pronounce his name. They speak to you about this incident, right? Yes?
Yes.
And on March 7th of 2024, you tell these law enforcement officers that he comes out of the bushes and that he's taking pictures of girls, right? You tell them
Yes.
that.
Yes.
That's not true, is it?
I guess so. It's hard to say because like that's what I recall from the date that happened. That's what I was telling the officer.
Okay. You'd agree when you were interviewed by the officers back in 2022, you never said anything about him taking photos of little girls, right?
I don't remember that.
Okay. You don't remember ever telling them that he came out of the bushes either, do you?
I know I said that.
You certain of that, sir?
Well, no, it's over 2 years ago.
Okay. I just want you to
But I believe that's what I told them.
Okay. And you didn't tell him that he was wearing a hat and a jacket and pants back in 2022, did you?
But also 2022, we were on the water, we were drinking and everything. What I saw was a scuffle and a man stabbing people.
Okay. You said much, much more to the police on your interview in March of 2024. You provided far greater details. Okay?
Okay.
And that's the stuff that I want to talk to you about. You told the police he walked into the water fully clothed. That's not true, is it?
No.
You told the police he got caught taking pictures of little girls.
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
That's not true, is it?
I guess not, no. Actually, can I say I don't know on that one?
Beg your pardon?
With the pictures and the girl taking pictures?
Let him ask the question and please give an answer.
Okay.
When this whole thing kind of starts, you're making a video, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I think back in August of 2022, you said that you were taking a video, and I don't want to get this wrong. You were recording your girl because you said she was kind of arguing with you. Is that true?
No.
No? So if you said that, that wouldn't be true.
Wait, you said I was recording my girl because she was arguing with me.
I can just tell you what you said, and you can tell me.
Yeah.
I'm recording me and my girl because she has an attitude.
That sound, yeah.
That sounds more,
Yeah, that sound more like it.
very good. So you were recording the person you were with because she had an attitude, according to you.
But, yeah, but in a sense, I was still using this camera. So when I say I did that, it's like this.
Okay.
And that's how I seen what was going on behind me.
Now, okay, you indicated back in August of 2022, they asked you about what you saw, when I say they, law enforcement. And you said, you know, we just drinking and stuff. I wasn't even paying attention. Is that true?
Yes.
So you weren't paying attention to what was going on, you were just, and that's okay, you were just drinking and stuff,
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
right?
That's another thing that I said that was, yes. But I can't just say, you can't just say I wasn't paying attention if I noticed in my phone camera. I was still paying attention. That's how,
Mr. Davis, I'm not saying you weren't paying attention, that's what you said,
fact.
okay? So, in August of 2022, you say you weren't paying attention. In March of 2024, you said you remembered it like yesterday and were paying close attention. Which one's true?
Both of them. That's how I felt when I said it, right?
So you have the ability to not pay attention and pay close attention at the same time.
No.
Then how can they both be true, sir?
Objection.
You've made your point.
Okay.
It's,
You don't have to answer.
My last couple questions, and then I'll let you go. Your initial interview with law enforcement back in August, you indicated that you said the following: I don't recall like what the old man looked like or anything. I don't even know if it was an old man. Do you recall saying that? Yes?
yep.
Okay. So back in August of 2022, you didn't, if I'm hearing or reading what you wrote correctly or said, you didn't remember what the person who was involved in this, if they were old, young, what, right?
Yep.
Okay. Have you, as this has been going on, the case, have you been following it, like, on media, social media? I'm not just talking about the trial, I'm talking about from the time this happened up until now. Have you been trying to gather information from those sources?
Nah, the only thing that I ever seen was right after it happened, the little news article about the stabbing and stuff, and that was pretty much it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Davis, thank you for your time, sir.
Any questions?
Just one question, I want to clear about this. Mr. Davis, did you know any of these folks other than the people on your tube?
Didn't know nobody but my girl, my sister, and her boyfriend, my brother.
Nothing else, thank you.
Mr. Trofasi? All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. The witness coordinator in the back will tell you where to go next. It's 2:45. This is a good time for our afternoon break. Let's come back at 3 o'clock. Please take the jury out.
All rise for the jury.
We are in recess until 3. All right, please be seated. We are back on the record. The jury is present. The attorneys are present. Mr. Miu is present. We're ready to continue. Mr. Anderson, who is the next witness? I'm sorry, what was the name?
Sheena Lowell.
Lowell? Okay. Ms. Lowell, please come forward. Yep, keep going. You're good. Please face the clerk, raise your right hand. She will administer the oath.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please have a seat in the witness chair. Mr. Anderson.
Can you please state your first and last name and spell your last name?
Sheena Lowell, Lowell,
Sheena, where do you currently live?
Nebraska,
And did you used to live closer to the area?
Wisconsin, yes.
When did you move?
2 years ago.
And may I approach?
Yes.
So this is 26A. Were you with these folks tubing on the river on
Yeah.
July 30,
Yes.
2022? And did you actually take this photo?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and then is that you kind of cropped in there on the bottom?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in a relationship with Quentin at the time?
Yes.
Okay. So that was your connection to other people in the group?
Yes.
Are you and Quentin current, or have you guys separated since?
Yes.
And have you had contact with anyone from that group since you and Quentin separated?
No.
And Sheena, do you have any prior criminal convictions?
Yes.
How many?
3.
On July 30, 2022, were you drinking?
No.
You were sober?
Yes.
Do you just never drink, or were you a sober driver that day, or?
I'm a recovering alcoholic.
Okay. And at some point along the tubing route, did something catch your group's attention?
We were coming around, it looked like a bend on the river, and a group of younger kids were screaming for help.
And what do you remember after that?
I remember as we were getting closer, they were yelling, "Help, please get this person away from us." The kids in our group got up off of the tubes, walked over to get in between to get him away from them.
And do you recall who the first ones that walked over were?
Madison,
And did Madison make contact with the gentleman or speak with the guy?
she was pointing downriver, just saying, "Get away, go, leave them alone."
Okay. And what happened after that you remember?
They all were basically doing the same thing, and then he punched her in the face.
Did you see which hand he used, right hand, left hand? Could you see from where you were?
No,
Okay. You just saw hand go to her face, but you couldn't tell?
I don't remember.
Okay. Were you looking from profile or from straight on, or?
From straight on.
Okay. And now I'm gonna show you some, let's see. And have you ever seen the video of the incident?
No,
And when did you get to Wisconsin from Nebraska for your testimony?
Yesterday morning.
Okay, and you haven't, and you spoke with us prior to testifying?
Yes,
And by phone, not in person?
yes,
So you still to this day haven't seen the video?
no.
After the guy punched Maddie, what did you see after that?
After he punched Madison, Dante punched him twice. He went under the water the first time, he came back up, Dante punched him one more time, and then it looked like he was punching them back, but he was actually stabbing them.
And when you say them, who did you see? And when I say he, you didn't know who he was at the time.
No, sir.
Now you know him to be Nicolae Miu.
Yes,
Okay. And when you said you saw him, you thought hitting people, who did you see him hit?
Rhyley, Dante, Tony, AJ.
And when you thought he hit Rhyley, could you see what she was doing?
She was yelling.
Did you see her push or strike at Miu at all?
No, she turned around and started running.
And what about, what do you recall about seeing Dante hit?
When Dante was hit, it just looked like he was being punched, and he retreated also.
And did you ever see Dante hit Miu after those first two strikes you saw?
No, sir.
And when when you thought hit, turned out to be stabbed, was that sometime after Dante had hit Miu?
Yes.
Sustained.
Why don't you, as best as you can remember, what do you remember about, do you remember this specific sequence?
No.
Okay. And I want to bring up some stills here. Can we bring up 1980? And do you see yourself in that image?
I do.
Can you describe where you are in that image?
Standing up behind the two kids.
And are you in the white bikini top there in the background?
Yes.
Was your hair light back then?
Yes.
And you're facing pretty much straight on towards the cameraman and the person off to the left?
Yes.
Okay, can we go to 2166? Where are you in that? Or do you see yourself in that photo?
Yep, in the same spot.
Facing straight on towards the cameraman, essentially?
Yes.
Can we go to 2564? See yourself in that still frame?
Yes.
And-
Standing up between the tubes.
Can we go to 3003? 3003. Do you see yourself in that one also?
Yes.
Same thing, looking towards the incident?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall seeing where Nicolai went afterwards?
Straight back up into the woods,
Do you see him go towards the woods or into the woods?
towards the woods.
And then when you saw him going towards the woods, did you look away before you actually saw where he went?
Yes.
Did something else catch your attention?
Yes, Rhyley did.
So you were basically standing by your tubes and watched everything,
Yes.
and you're stone cold sober?
Yes.
Do you remember, did the incident happen fast, slow? How do you remember it?
It happened really fast.
Is it hard to say exactly what happened first, second, third?
Yes.
You're sure you saw him punch Maddie?
Yes.
Sustained.
And did you tell these, were you interviewed by law enforcement shortly afterwards?
Yes, I was.
And did you tell law enforcement what you saw?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Shropshire?
Ms. Lowell, you say that do you hear this group of the six boys, young men, asking for help?
Yes.
Okay. And do you look over and see what's going on?
Yes.
And you see that there's one man there, right, Mr. Miu?
Yes.
Okay. And you say to the police that this guy was harassing them, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did you see him doing?
He was holding their tubes. He would not let them go.
He would not let the tubes go.
No.
Did you see Mr. Miu walk around the tubes and walk away from the boys downstream a little bit?
No.
You didn't see that?
No.
Okay. At that point, you say Madison gets off her tube and starts to walk over there. Is that right?
Yes.
And do you recall Mr. Miu walking over toward Madison
No, Madison met him at the tube.
at the tubes?
Yes.
So you're saying that Mr. Miu didn't walk towards Madison at all?
No.
If I told you the distance from where you were, where your group was to the incident is about 131 feet. Sound about right to you?
Yes.
Okay. So you're 45 yards or so away.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Come on up, please, come on up. Members of the jury, again, the remarks of the attorneys are not evidence. What the witness says is evidence. So if the says something different than what the attorney says, you may disregard the attorney's suggestion entirely. Next question, please.
Ms. Lowell, do you hear Ms. Cohen say, go, get your fucking ass, go? Do you hear that?
I do not.
You see her pointing downriver to Mr. Miu, is that right?
Yes.
And do you see at that point Dante?
Yes.
Let me finish, okay? Next to Madison.
Yes.
Okay. Do you see Dante pointing for him to go downriver as well?
Yes.
Do you know where or if Mr. Miu has a group with him?
No.
Okay. So you wouldn't know if the group is actually behind you almost, right? And he's got to go the other way, upriver to get out of that situation, right? You wouldn't know that.
No.
Okay. And would you describe Madison Cohen as getting in Mr. Miu's face?
No.
You wouldn't describe her as getting in his personal space?
No.
Do you see her put her hands on him?
No.
Do you know if she did?
Yes.
You know she did?
I know she didn't.
All right, so you're testifying under oath, not only that you didn't see it, but you know she didn't do it.
I know she didn't.
Okay. Did you see Rhyley put her hands on Mr. Miu?
No.
And you've testified that you saw Mr. Miu punch Madison, yes?
Yes.
Okay. You don't recall with which hand, is that fair?
That's fair.
Do you see Madison come back to your group?
Yes.
Okay. Is she holding her face?
Yes, she came straight to me.
What side of her face is she holding?
Her right.
Do you have a phone with you?
I do. It's shut off.
No, I don't mean right now.
Yes.
Back then, I meant.
No.
Okay. On that day, it's okay. On that day, you didn't have a phone with you.
No.
Okay. There comes a time when I think Madison is calling 911 though, so she has a phone, right? To your knowledge?
We found a phone and hit a button to call 911.
Okay. Here's my question. Do you recall anyone taking photographs of Madison's face?
No. The police.
You saw the police take photos of her
Yes.
face? Okay. Can I ask you this? There's a gentleman on the end there with a beard. Is he the gentleman who was taking the photographs of her?
There were several police there, not just one,
Okay.
so I don't know.
You recognize that?
I believe I spoke with him once,
Okay.
but I've spoke with probably 6 or 7 officers.
Can you describe the punch? It's been described various ways in court. Can you describe it?
It was just a quick punch, as you would see somebody punch somebody.
So it's been described different ways. So it was just a punch, like straight on punch
Yes.
with his right hand. No?
I don't know.
Okay. And at that point, you see Dante punch Mr. Miu in the face.
Yes,
And you see Mr. Miu go down, is that right?
yes.
Okay. And you see Dante hit him again.
He comes back up and Dante hits him one more time.
Do you recall Dante hitting Mr. Miu while Mr. Miu was on his back in the water?
No,
Okay. Are you saying that you saw Mr. Miu rise to his feet and Dante hit him again?
yes.
When that happened, did Mr. Miu go down again?
No, that was when he just started punching.
Okay. So, just want to make sure I'm hearing you. Mr. Miu gets punched in the face by Dante, and you see him go down. Yes?
Yes,
Then he rises up.
yes,
You being Mr. Miu.
Asked and answered.
Overruled.
He rises back up. Dante punches him again in the face, and then Mr. Miu, I think you describe it as gets to punching.
yes.
Okay. Do you know AJ Martin?
I very briefly met him before our tubing trip.
Okay. Do you, from your vantage point, do you see AJ Martin come up behind Mr. Miu and shove him?
No,
Do you see Mr. Miu, as you describe it, punch or stab AJ Martin?
yes,
Do you see AJ Martin, when that's happening, pushing Mr. Miu backwards into the water?
no,
Do you see do you see Anthony Carlson get stabbed?
yes,
Do you see Anthony put his hands on Mr. Miu, on Mr. Miu's kind of backside? When I say backside, like his back, shoulder area, before that happens?
no, because he was facing him.
Okay. I know you don't know or didn't know Isaac Schuman. Did you see the interaction between Mr. Miu and Isaac Schuman?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you see the interaction between Mr. Miu and Dante?
Yes,
Okay. And do you recall when that happens in this kind of like sequential events?
Dante was the second or third person.
Okay. So you didn't see Dante and Mr. Miu have contact after everything was done when Dante
No,
was there?
because they had come running to me.
Okay. So, just want to make sure I understand. In your recollection, Dante is second or third?
Yes,
Just one second, Judge. Ms. Wall, I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you for your time today.
Hold on a second, there might be another question. Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Heading back?
Yes.
Did you see any injuries on him?
No,
He wasn't bleeding?
I didn't see anything.
At some point, did you realize that there had been some folks that were injured in the river?
Yes,
Folks that were injured in the river in the spot where he was involved in the altercation?
laying along the side of the river, yes.
As you walked up to Mr. Miu, did he say anything to you as he came up to you?
No,
Did he ever say anything to you about what happened?
never, we never spoke after that again. After that, we all, everything was just quiet.
How serious were the injuries of the folks that you saw injured?
Objection beyond his opinion, I guess.
Sustained.
What did you see?
Foundation.
Pardon me, what did you see as far as the injuries of the folks in the river?
Bad.
Did you call 911?
Yes, it did.
Did you call 911 more than once?
Probably about 2 or 3 times, but I'm not sure.
Why did you do that?
Concerned about the people on the edge, laying on the bank of the river.
Did you attempt to give other assistance?
No, I just went and met paramedics at the river, met the bridge, and kind of walked them back where everybody were, you know.
With those paramedics, were there some law enforcement folks too?
Yes, it were.
And I think if I understand what you're saying, you sort of directed them to where these injured people were?
Yes.
Anybody else from your group do that?
No,
You're the only person from your group that came over to help?
I think so. Yeah.
At some point, did you end up walking back to your group?
Yes.
Did anybody say anything to you about what you saw?
No.
Anybody ask any questions?
No.
Did you eventually float away?
Got on tubes and we didn't listen to no music. We just floated and just ready to get off the river at that time. We didn't want to be there no more.
Was there any kind of conversation as you're floating down the river?
Never. No.
At some point, did the officers think that you had some videos on your phone of what had happened? Had you taken some videos that day?
Yeah, I took videos, just our party together. And when we stopped, we took videos of each other, not of the, that's about it.
You didn't have any videos of this actual incident?
No, no.
Do you know how long your crew stayed in that area before floating down the river to the end?
Could have been about 15 minutes.
How long did it take you to reach the end of the trip from where this incident happened?
Probably about another half an hour. 20 minutes to half an hour.
What did you do once you got to the end?
Turn that tubes in and just prepare to go back to our cars, get on the bus and go back to our cars.
All right. At some point, was there more contact with law enforcement at the end?
Yes,
Did you witness that?
yes.
All right. Nothing else?
Mr. Nelson?
Von Williams, I've seen it written both ways.
Williams. Yeah, well, it's Eric Von Williams, yeah.
So your middle name's Von, but your last name's Williams?
Yep.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So, Mr. Williams, I'm Aaron Nelson. I represent Mr. Miu. I want to ask you some questions too, okay?
Yeah,
You were with Nick that day, right?
right.
There's been some pictures that I think have been, can I get like 106 through 110, please. There's been some pictures of your party of 10 people or so on the river. Have you seen any of those photos from that day?
Yeah,
Yes.
So that's exhibit 112. You see yourself in that picture?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I do, yeah.
And next to you is Nick Miu, correct?
Yep,
And in that photo, you see him wearing sunglasses, is that right?
yes,
Do you remember that day? Did he have sunglasses on most of the time?
yes,
Were there times that you saw him, you said he saw him with a snorkel and goggles, right?
yes,
And he certainly went up to look for the phone, and I'm going to get to that.
yes.
Prior to looking for the phone, had you seen him resting in the river or using his snorkel and the goggles anytime in the river?
No,
You didn't see that?
no,
Had you seen him at times without his sunglasses on during that trip?
no,
And then here's a photo 110. This photo, you see Mr. Miu with a hat on?
mm-hmm,
Said yes?
yes, yes.
That's all right. Were there times that day that you saw him with a hat on?
Not sure, with the hat on,
Yes.
I'm not sure. I can't remember, I'll be honest, I can't remember.
Okay. Do you remember whether it was, do you remember him not having the hat on or having the hat on, or you're unsure about either?
I'm not sure about either.
Okay, that's fair. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 111. Does that appear to be another photo of your group?
Yep, yes,
Move for the admission to 111.
Any objection?
No.
111 is received.
And you see Mr. Miu in that photo there, he's got sunglasses and a hat on, correct?
yes, I do. No,
You're not in that photo,
No,
is that right?
no,
So sometimes people would wander off from the group maybe and do something else?
yes,
Or you're just perhaps just not in that photo, you might be just behind the person or taking a picture?
I can't remember.
Okay. In all of those pictures, we saw Mr. Miu had a shirt on, is that right?
Right.
Do you, and then, I believe when he went to, with his snorkel to look for the phone, do you remember, was his shirt on or was his shirt off?
I can't remember.
Did you have a shirt that day?
Yes,
Did you sometimes take your shirt off?
no,
Okay. You kept it on the whole time? Did you snorkel at all?
no,
Did you get in the water and swim?
no,
Okay. There was, your group of people was generally people my age, your age?
right, yes,
Okay. Some people were having a couple of beers?
yeah, yes,
Did you observe, were you intoxicated?
no, no,
Did you observe anybody in your group that you thought was intoxicated?
no,
Were you worried about anyone being loud or obnoxious or rowdy or anything along those lines?
no, no,
You'd said that you had, I think, and I want to really make sure we get this, you were concerned people were going to think he was up to no good, that he was a predator. You said that, right?
yes,
I want to really get into that, okay, a little bit? That's something that you had in your own mind, right? Yes?
yes, yes,
And that's a concern that you had when you learned he was going to go snorkel down the river, correct?
right,
You didn't think he was up to no good, agreed?
no, no,
You agree?
I agree, I agree,
You didn't think he was a predator, you agree?
I agree,
You had no reason to believe, based upon what you had seen him do that day, that he was preying on little girls?
no,
You agree with that?
I agree with that,
But you, like a lot of us, are able to kind of think about what are other people going to think, right?
exactly, yes,
And I would imagine on the river that day, you saw other groups of people, right?
yes,
And some of those other groups of people appeared to be intoxicated,
yes,
and some of the, you said young people, right?
yep, yep, yes.
And you look about my age, like, how old does somebody need to be not be considered young by you?
How, you said how old?
Yeah, so when you say young people, do you mean like littles, or do you just mean like 25 and under?
Teenagers and 25, and under 30.
Okay, all right.
Yep,
So it's not like they're young.
no,
So the people that you saw on there, you saw some people in this age group and teenagers, 20-somethings that were intoxicated, correct?
yes,
And based upon your observations, you were kind of worried about some of those people, right?
yes,
Based upon your life experiences, you know a group of drunk young men might not be people you want to be around, correct?
yes.
And that was a concern that you had, right?
It's a concern we all had.
Sure. And that you're like, look, drunk young people, when they get together, bad things can happen sometimes, right?
Right,
And that's why you were trying to be kind of more conservative, like, let's just stay together here. Let's not mix ourselves up with these drunk young people that might be dangerous.
we had made agreement not to stop by young people, stop a little farther down the river.
And why
Wouldn't
were
be in
you, why were you, personally, all you can talk about is you, why were you concerned about not stopping by young people?
Intoxication.
Okay, and why were you're worried about young people that were intoxicated? Do they cause problems sometimes?
They could, it's a possibility, but I see.
Do they have conflict sometimes?
It could be conflicts.
All right. Do they sometimes, are you concerned about their decision-making when they're intoxicated and in a group of young men?
I was just worried about what Nick was doing, looking for a phone. I didn't want anybody to think
Sure.
he was up to no good.
And if there were non-intoxicated people, you wouldn't be worried about that, correct?
I'll still be worried about that.
What was that?
I would still be worried about that.
But you were more worried because they were intoxicated.
Right.
And I imagine you were more worried because there's more of them, correct?
Object, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You had said, I think you'd said before, we were out there with his wife and these young guys, they're quick to test us. That's what you told the police, right? I think you're talking in general, not that day, but in general, did you feel as if sometimes young men as a group are quick to test you older men?
Well, yeah, I do remember that conversation that day.
You
when the
did say
detective
that.
talked to me, yeah.
And that's because in your life experience, sometimes young men get a kick out of challenging perhaps an older guy, right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled. You can answer if you are able to.
Yeah, I ran into it a couple of times, so,
And
yes.
that's why you were concerned,
Yes.
right? When you saw Nick come back, is that right?
Yes.
Fair to say he was quiet?
It's quiet. Nesto grabbed Nick and walked him back, and I kept going forward.
Okay, so your interaction with Nick there on the river was very brief, right?
And Nick, well, with everything that went down, me and Nick didn't talk.
I understand. It sounds like you're walking in this direction towards Nick. And then Ernesto gets there first, is that right?
Right,
And then Ernesto grabs Nick and helps Nick get back to the group in some manner, right?
yes.
You don't know because you're not looking at him, right?
No,
Because you continue on in that direction to go down to see what all the yelling and the screaming is about, correct?
yes, no,
And at some point, 15 minutes or so, you eventually go back to the group where Nick is, correct?
yes,
And at that point, Nick is sitting there quietly, correct?
yes,
You don't hear him say anything, agreed?
no,
Do you make observations of his person?
yes,
He appears to be somber. Yes?
quiet, yes.
Have you heard the expression white as a ghost before?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, it did.
Did he have that look about him?
He had a look, just say he had a look, and, yes, he did.
Have you seen people when they're in shock before?
No, I personally, no.
Okay. Would you know what that looked like if you saw it?
Probably would, yeah.
He looked like he was in shock.
Object, Your Honor, the foundation.
Sustained. Wait for the next question.
That's all.
Mr. Smestad, anything else? Thank you, Mr. Williams. You may step down.
Thank you.
Please see the witness coordinator on your way out, and she'll give you further instructions. It's 4:10. Do you have a short witness? Is there any administrative matters that we can tend to? I mean, offering exhibits that need to come in?
Yes, and probably the things we can talk about outside the presence.
Anything we can do in the presence of the jury is my point.
Oh. Not that I can think of.
Mr. Shravasi?
No, I can't. I don't think we're in that position at this point, Judge.
All right. So given the hour, I think we will simply adjourn. We'll send everyone home. I'll give you the same reminders as before. No talking about the case. Do not begin your deliberations. Do not conduct any independent research or investigation. Do not visit the scene. Do not speak with the media, the attorneys, the parties, the public about the case. And do not read any media accounts or engage in any social media accounts about the trial. We will get started tomorrow at 8 a.m. Please come back at that time, and we'll get a prompt start to the trial. Please take the jury out.
All rise for the jury.
Please be seated. We are outside the presence of the jury with the attorneys and Mr. Miu. We do have at least one illustration on the easel that needs to be marked. And I think we have another one over here with the clerk. That too has to be marked. So we have a record of what it is. Mr. Anderson, I can't remember who you used the one with the clerk. So you'll have to connect the dots for us.
That was Anthony Carlson.
This was Tony. Yeah, Tony Carlson.
So the Tony Carlson illustration is Exhibit 77?
Yes, although, yes, it was used during that. I believe I objected, Your Honor, sustained. So, I mean, you can certainly mark it, but I don't know
The objection was to drawing Isaac on there, not everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it was used during the trial, so I just want to have it marked.
Sure.
I don't know what value it will have, but I just don't want to lose sight of marking things that have been.
Judge, and I don't think I've
Used.
offered the group photo of Nicolai's group.
No objection.
Offer.
What number is it?
No, we're just labeling A. What's the small one? Right, 12A, Judge.
All right, so 12A is the blow-up of the group shot of Mr. Miu's group, correct?
Yes.
And which illustration is this?
This is the one I did with Sandy Miu. That'd be
80? Okay, so I'll have that marked. All right, is there any other exhibit that needs to be addressed?
No, thanks. Well, can I ask the clerk, are there any that you have, that we've talked about so far that haven't been admitted and received?
Mr. Shravasi, any exhibits that we need to tend to?
I think we marked them all.
Got them all?
Yep, I think so.
Is there something you wanted to talk about outside the presence of the jury?
Well, I don't know if you want to put on the record the objection there was, the discussion at the bench.
You want to make a sidebar record, Mr. Nelson?
I think it was Mr. Trofficy with the third round of questioning maybe is probably the,
No, I think the one we're talking about is Mr. Williams and his concern about Mr. Miu's intentions being misunderstood by others. We had a lengthy sidebar about that, whether it was relevant or irrelevant.
Yeah.
And you made an objection.
I objected that it was irrelevant. Your Honor listened to arguments and eventually ruled that it was minimal probative value, but enough to be relevant, and so we did what we did.
Anything you want to add to the record, Mr. Anderson?
I think our point was there's been significant challenges against the children's credibility and that they jumped to conclusions, but then we have an adult who had the same concerns, so I think that's why we thought it was highly relevant.
And that's what persuaded me, was drawing the connection back to the Schuman group, and it validated their perceptions or concerns. Again, it had minimal probative value, but it was relevant. We weren't dwelling on that topic, so I don't think there's any unfair prejudice to the defense. Something else?
No, I was going to just articulate my argument, but probably not necessary.
All right. Okay, we will resume tomorrow, 8 a.m. We're in recess. There's a lot left. Some of these people we might be able to eliminate, but there's,
Yeah. For instance, if a job opportunity is presented to you and they really hype it up and say, this is going to be so much better than what the place that you're at already. It's gonna be the same thing that you're doing, but we're gonna give you more money, the culture is gonna be better, it's gonna be better emotionally and physically for you. And you go, oh, yeah, because you're maybe not super content where you're at, but you like what you're doing. And then you go to this other place and you're doing the same thing and you still love what you're doing, but it's not what they said it was gonna be.
And the problem is that if we're talking about a job, you quit your other job. You move on with your life and you put some investment into something. And you believe all these things, whoever it is telling you that this is gold and you're gonna love this. And then when it's too late, you find out it's not gold, it's bogus basin and it's fool's gold. You all know what I'm talking about. That's a real situation. Would you agree? Would everybody agree with that? People fall into that trap very easily. And it's very easy to get people to fall into that and dangle them the gold in front of them. And all of us are susceptible to that. And when you fall into that trap, it's painstaking, isn't it? Do you agree with that? Especially if it's a job. Folks, I want to thank you. You made this very easy. And I hope I haven't inconvenienced you or embarrassed any of you. And please, I want to thank you for your time. It's important that we had a chance to meet each other and talk about these things. And I appreciate the time that you've given me today. Thank you, folks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pryor. What I intend to do next, let's have the jurors excused, we'll take a mid-afternoon brief recess and start with our individual board dire. However, just before we have the jurors excused, there's two I'll just have stay together with some questions on the juror affirmation. So we've got juror 240 and 265. And if we could have the rest of the juries retire for a minute, and I'll pass to counsel these for their review, and then we'll have a few questions on that, and we'll continue in individual.
Your Honor, I think 265 was already excused.
Oh, apologies, I should have been tracking them. So we'll only need to talk to 240 then.
All right, great. You can all stop. Yes.
All right, juror 240, excuse the other jurors, I just had a question and wanted some clarification in your juror affirmation form.
Yes.
And you made a notation and said, quote, have watched the jury deliberations. So,
I think it meant selection, but yes.
okay, so let me just clarify that issue. You filled out your questionnaire, and then after that is when you did watch some of these proceedings that were being live streamed or something?
Yes, I was curious about what questions would be asked of the jurors, and I knew that the jury selection was being live streamed, so I pulled it up and watched maybe half an hour of it.
All right. And I appreciate your honesty on that. Did you understand that you were advised not to do that?
I guess I didn't think about it at the time, but I also didn't think that official court business would be an issue. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it at the time.
Okay. I guess the concern I would raise is if this is a continuing instruction and if we make it more clear, is this something you think you'd be able to refrain from doing and follow the instructions, including not watching any further proceedings either now or when trials taking place?
Yes, that would not happen again.
Okay. I want to have a little additional voir dire from the state and the defense just on that issue, and then we'll determine where we are. And in fact, just in the interest of efficiency here, if we want to just do the individual voir dire first with this juror, let's just go ahead and do that. But the first, I do want to bring up the subject of that with the affirmation. And again, I very much appreciate your honesty in advising the court of that. And I think that does say a lot that you did advise us. And I can understand that may not have been entirely clear and may not have been clear to you that we were actually going to be broadcasting these proceedings. So if the parties are ready to do that, does the state have any questions regarding that comment in the affirmation?
Not with regard to that comment, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Pryor.
Judge, I do have a comment in regards to that, but it touches on what he said in his questionnaire. One of the comments he made in his questionnaire, if the court would give me some latitude. And you would rather wait, I can wait, Judge.
Yeah, I will. There's some potential bias in here from pretrial knowledge also. So if you want, we could just start with looking at that issue as well.
Your Honor, if we may have just a moment to confer with counsel.
Why don't you do that, and then we'll just take up sort of the full individual questioning of this juror on individual voir dire.
Thank you.